Imagine a place that's already killed thousands, poisoned the soil for generations, and became the symbol of global disaster. Now imagine that this same place, yep, Chernobyl, isn't just dangerous, it might actually go off again. And no, we're not talking about some new nuclear accident by mistake. We're talking about something way scarier. Humans messing with radiation, right in the middle of a war zone. Sounds like science fiction, huh? But nope, this is real life, and no one's paying attention. See, most people think what happened in 1986 got sealed away, buried under concrete, and locked inside history books. But that's only half the truth. And sometimes, half-truths are worse than lies. Chernobyl isn't some dusty relic. It breathes, it leaks, and it reacts to every little thing happening around it. When armed troops move through that zone, or a missile lands even close to the old reactor, the question isn't if something could go wrong, it's when. And here's the kicker. People still live there. Scientists still work there. Tourists still sneak in. Heck, some folks live there on purpose. Why? What drives someone to risk walking through a radioactive ghost town? And why are the threats getting worse decades later? Today, you're about to see why Chernobyl isn't just a story from the past. It's a warning siren for what's coming next. So buckle up, because what you're about to hear might just change how you see the future. Nuclear safety at risk. Picture this. The deadliest environmental disaster in history, still breathing beneath the surface, and now, that same place is being targeted in the middle of a war. Yep, we're talking about Chernobyl. The site of the infamous nuclear accident isn't just haunted by radiation anymore. Now there's a new threat in town. Humans, once again. And unlike invisible particles, this time the danger comes locked and loaded. One wrong move, one missile in the wrong spot, and all that sealed up radioactivity? Poof. Here's the part most people miss. Nuclear facilities, even the deactivated ones, are still ticking time bombs. We're talking about fragile structures, decades-old containment systems, radioactive material, just sitting there, waiting. That sarcophagus over Reactor 4? It wasn't built to withstand military strikes. It's like trying to protect a barrel of gunpowder with a shower curtain. And when politics and weapons collide in a zone like that, the fallout won't be just local. It'll spread far and wide. And that's the scary part. This nuclear risk didn't die in the 80s. It's very much alive, waiting for a single human mistake to blow wide open. The environmental impact of another leak wouldn't just hit Ukraine. Depending on the wind, it could sweep across Europe and beyond. So let me ask you something. If even the most radioactive place on Earth isn't off limits in war, what else can we expect from the future? And spoiler, it gets even messy, when we look at the people still living and working there. Social implications. While most of the world watched from the safety of their screens, some people felt the Chernobyl attack up close. And we're not just talking about soldiers. Scientists monitoring radiation levels were caught right in the chaos. Many had to evacuate in a flash, leaving years of research behind. Imagine spending your life studying radiation-eating fungi, and suddenly you're dodging missiles. It's like a crossover between National Geographic and Call of Duty. The scientific community was shaken. Teams analyzing the environmental impacts of the accident went silent overnight, not from censorship, but from raw fear. Experts started raising red flags internationally. If Chernobyl takes another hit, we have no clue what the fallout could be. And these aren't your average alarmists. These are people who've spent decades digging into contaminated soil, mutated forests, and wildlife thriving in radioactive zones. They know what they're talking about. And then you've got the locals, people who actually moved back into the exclusion zone, trying to rebuild what was lost. Now they live between two nightmares, the invisible one and the one with sirens and rifles. One Ukrainian man told a reporter, "At least we know how to live with radiation." That hit hard, but as strange as it sounds, some folks are still drawn to Chernobyl, and not just scientists. There's a whole new wave of people stepping into the danger zone for a very different reason. How this affects tourism in Chernobyl, thrill seekers versus lasting dangers. Believe it or not, Chernobyl became a tourist hotspot. Yep, the same place where a nuclear accident poisoned the land for generations is now a magnet for curious travelers. Influencers with GoPros, people posing in hazmat suits just for the gram. It's like a post-apocalyptic theme park. And after that hit HBO series, the number of visitors actually went up. But after the recent military attacks, that adventure suddenly feels a lot more real and a whole lot more dangerous. Now, tourism's basically frozen. I mean, who's gonna risk a selfie in a war zone laced with radiation? Still, there's something about human nature that gets a kick out of flirting with danger. We climb volcanoes. We dive with sharks, so why not visit a contaminated ghost town? But here's the difference. Chernobyl isn't just risky, it's unstable. The nuclear risk was already there, but now you've got soldiers and stray artillery messing with the mix. Not exactly travel brochure material. And yet, some argue that keeping tourism alive carefully, of course, helps the world remember what went wrong. If people stop seeing it, they'll forget it, they say. Fair point, but it opens a tough question. Is walking through radioactive ruins worth a thrill? Especially now that the threat comes from both the ground beneath your feet and the airspace above your head? It kind of blurs the line between history and horror, and honestly, it starts to sound like something out of a dystopian movie, except it's not. Comparing contaminated conflict zones and historic nuclear sites, if Chernobyl were just an urban legend, you'd swear it came straight out of a sci-fi script. A radioactive wasteland, frozen in time, where mutated nature wraps around rusted ruins, and now it's crawling with soldiers. Sounds like something out of The Last of Us, right? But nope, this is real. And the wild part, Chernobyl isn't the only place like this. Take Fukushima in Japan, another massive nuclear accident, another environmental scar still healing. One caused by human error, the other by a tsunami, both still ticking. Zoom out a bit, and you'll start to notice a pattern. War zones and hazardous areas seem to go hand in hand more often than they should. Think about Syria, a war that hit chemical plants and left toxic damage behind. In Pripyat, the ghost town next to Chernobyl, the threat isn't chemical, it's radioactive. But the dynamic is the same. Soldiers marching into unstable territory, where one wrong step could trigger a domino of disaster. It's not just politics anymore. It's environmental and it's global. That's the thing. In video games, you can hit pause. In Chernobyl, no such luck. There's no respawn, no do-over. What leaks spreads. What mutates stays. And it makes you wonder, what if the same thing happened in one of the other nuclear plants around the world? Or worse, what if this becomes a pattern in future wars? Because if there's one thing we're learning fast, it's that when we ignore the past, the future tends to come back wearing the same mask, only more radioactive. Curiosity. Here's the wild part. The more you learn about Chernobyl, the more questions you end up asking. Did you know there's actually a fungus inside the reactor that feeds on radiation? No joke. It literally absorbs it like a toxic snack. It's like nature came up with its own biological antivirus. And no one teaches you that in school. These kinds of discoveries flip everything we thought we knew about environmental impact upside down. Life finding a way in the most radioactive place on Earth? That's next level fascinating. And check this out. Some scientists believe the radiation in Chernobyl might be accelerating genetic mutations, not just in animals, but possibly in humans too. Sounds like sci-fi, right? Maybe. But real studies are digging into it. Imagine if the key to fighting cancer or regenerating tissue is hiding in the middle of that toxic wasteland. The very same place that once symbolized death could one day save lives. I know, it sounds poetic, but sometimes science writes the best plot twists. And now for the weirdest twist of all. Chernobyl has unofficial residents. They call them stalkers, people who live illegally inside the exclusion zone. No hazmat suits, no guides, just vibes. Some of them swear they feel healthier there than anywhere else. Go figure. But that raises a deeper question. Why are we so drawn to danger? Why are we so obsessed with the forbidden? Maybe it's because deep down, we're not just scared of the nuclear risk, we're scared of what it says about us. And trust me, that curiosity, it's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to what the future might hold. Chernobyl isn't just a place, it's a living, radioactive reminder of how far humanity can go, and how high the price is when we forget our own mistakes. And now, with soldiers marching through fallout zones, tourists chasing danger, and scientists sounding alarms, the nuclear risk is no longer history. It's right here, right now. And yeah, it's a whole lot messier than we were told. What used to be sealed under concrete might be cracking wide open again. So let me ask you this. Do you still think Chernobyl is old news? Or has this made you question what other disaster zones are just one wrong move away from making headlines? Could another nuclear accident happen in our lifetime? And more importantly, would we even see it coming? If this made your brain itch with curiosity, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a deep dive like this one. Around here, we don't just explore history. We uncover the dangerous truths that are still shaping the future. And trust me, what's coming next? You'll want to be here for it.